I'm down here at the Cairns Rehabilitation Centre.
Cairns Turtle
Rehabilitation Centre. I'm down here at the Cairns Turtle Rehabilitation Centre with Jen. I called her Jennifer, but only her mother calls her that. This is where I saw my first turtle. Got pretty emotional that day, a few leaky eyes. And I'm back here today because I spoke about to the people on Facebook that there may be a program that you could have where people can adopt a turtle. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turtles. Yes. There's one missing from behind me. I think it must have met its maker. And maybe people can adopt one of them and just defray a bit of the cost, because you know you do rely on public donations.
We do, Cole, and it'd be a great idea if people adopted a turtle, because what we can do is they can name the turtle.
Yep.
And then they can follow the turtle. What we can do is we can give regular updates on the turtle.
Yep.
So we know what's happening. And when they're actually released, we do put satellite trackers on them, and then they can follow their turtle. It is a very expensive business to rehabilitate these turtles.
Yep.
You're looking at up to $2,000 to rehabilitate them. And then you're looking after that at about $3,000 for the tracker and $3,000 for the airtime. So when you release a turtle, you could be looking up to $10,000 to rehabilitate these turtles.
So if someone decided that instead of giving their money to an African cause or whatever, they decided we want to adopt a turtle, they could say the little hawksbill over there, I'd like to donate $10 a week or something towards the upkeep of that turtle. They could do that.
Yes, they could.
And if anyone was a substantial donation, we could let them have naming rights. So
that's exactly right.
We might put a figure on a $500, you name it, that's your initial donation, then an ongoing thing if you want to do that. It's just so that you know you can help organisations like yourselves. There's no one else up here in North Queensland that I know of that does this.
No, well, down in Townsville, Reef HQ actually have a rehabilitation centre. They're government funded, but we're the only private volunteer situation for rehabilitating turtles.
So this is me talking, not you. So this gutless, weak, insipid government that I've been moaning about the last 18 months, that put their money in their, you know, wherever they want to put it, you know, the hairy-legged, left-legged lesbian association, but here's something for animals, and they don't give you a cracker.
We don't get any government funding.
That is disgraceful. And once again, I hate the Australian government. We're the total hypocrites of the world. We absolutely guts and moan. We're taking Japan to the International Whaling Commission in a year's time, and yet we allow these turtles to get butchered and dugongs to get butchered. And here's a place that rehabs these animals, the turtles, and they don't get a cent. You're a disgrace, Australian government.
The only thing I can say, Colin, is that marine parks do give time.
That's good.
And marine parks in Cairns are very good.
That's good. That was your rant, that's my rant. And I'm the rant master.
And I'm not.
I love it.
But together, we can save these animals.
We can. And we're going to. Believe me.
He is mad.
I tell you what,
he is
I
mad.
like you already.
Cairns Turtle Rehabilitation Centre was started 10 years ago by Paul Barnes, who's a marine biologist, and myself. And when we first started, we used to actually have about a 30 to 35% success rate with our turtles. They used to come in, they were really thin, they were picked up at after a long time of floating, because people actually thought that when they're on the surface, they look great. Now people realise, with the amount of media and with the amount of education that we have done over time, the turtles on the surface are actually in a lot of trouble. So we're getting them in a lot earlier, and we're now getting an 85 to 90% success rate, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and you said that Paul's got a qualification. Have you got one, or are you just a pain in the arse like me?
Oh, just a pain in the arse like you. No,
you're not.
Yes, I actually have veterinary technology and marine biology and zoology, and I'm currently doing a master's that's going to a PhD.
Why do you do it?
Why do I do it? I'm really passionate about these animals. I actually care. We don't get paid for what we do. This is all voluntary. I do it for the species. I do it to save the species. At the veterinary clinic that we have, Marlin Coast Vet Clinic, all our treatment that we give to these turtles is free of charge, and we do it to save a species.
You're bloody wonderful. You're my sort of lady.
Sorry I'm married, Cole.
It's all right, mate. Me too. No, I'm not sorry I'm married. I'll get into trouble there.
She's a green turtle.
And how old?
She would probably be about 30, 40 years old, this green turtle. She's got floater's disease. So she came in she was found on the leads at Cairns, floating.
Yep.
And as you can see from on the top of the shell, she probably got a bit of propeller damage as well.
All right. And is she likely to survive?
She probably will. We've got to get her start eating. And once we can get her eating and we can get that air pass through, she'll be fine. But
Beautiful.
look, honestly, you can never say with any animal whether or not they're going to make it.
I suppose it's with every animal, humans too. You go into hospital and you get the best care, but sometimes you don't come out the other side.
That's exactly right. But look, you never know whether they're going to make it.
Barnacled one here, that's a little green turtle.
Little green turtle, yes, probably about 10 years old, and this one, as you can see, has been floating for a while. He's got barnacles on his back, and he's also floating on one side, so that means he's got air down one side. So what we've got to do is try and get rid of the air, and that's a time factor mainly, so it's just keeping them in, treating them, and time, and hopefully the air will pass. He is eating, which is a great sign.
Yep.
And then once they're, as I said, once they're sitting on the bottom and for a few months, we then put them in a big tank and we let them dive for a while. And once they're diving and they're feeding properly, then they're ready to be released.
What sort of time frame is the recovery period from the time you get them in until the time you release them?
We can have anything up to 2 years. We had 2 hawksbill turtles that we actually had in with us for 22 months before we released them. And when we released them, one of them had a tracker on and one of them didn't. And she's over at Green Island, and she's actually been tracking now for 12 months.
Beautiful.
Still at Green Island, happy. This is Flynn.
This is the one we saw.
This one's name's Flynn.
Is it?
He came off Flynn Reef, that's why.
Flynn Reef.
He came off Flynn Reef.
That's a little hawksbill turtle.
Yeah, that's a kitty, that one.
That's the little one we saw eating the squid.
Yes, yes.
How good was that? That was the first time I've ever seen one feed.
Isn't great. Yeah, you're learning a lot, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. And you only called it Flynn because he come off Flynn Reef.
Yeah, this turtle's name's Flynn because he was found on Flynn Reef. So he's very sick, as you can see. He's quite thin. His scoots are up on his back. So instead of laying nice and flat down, his scoots are up, which means he's quite unwell. He's floating to one side. But hawksbills are pretty hardy, actually. A lot of them, you see them in this state and they look extremely sick, but they actually pull through.
They're tough little buggers.
They are tough little buggers. A bit like you, Cole.
Yeah, that's an understatement.